You talk a lot about, and I talk a lot about, chemical toxins that we encounter inside the home, that we encounter outside the home, and what that stuff really does to the body. So can you talk a little bit about things that people encounter in their everyday lives, cleaning products, furniture, clothing, whatever it is that you feel, detergent, makeup, beauty products, and what's going on that's wrong there, and how that can contribute to people feeling ultimately sick?
When it comes to environmental toxins, it is one of the most insidious agents or influences on our health for the negative. And as you know, we're not taught about this in school, and it's definitely not in the mainstream media. And 100%, you're not going to your conventional doctor's office and they're asking you about your cleaning supplies or your personal care products, or what is your furniture, or what bed are you sleeping on. But it's just as important, if not more important. When I was, and I know we're going to cancer, working on cancer patients, I actually derived at the end of my time when I was a clinician, before I went into media, I saw that environmental toxins was one of two of the leading causes of cancer, beyond what we understand, right? So many of us talk about really healthy eating, and that plays a role. I think environmental medicine and environmental toxins play more of a role than healthy eating in cancer, as well as the other thing that we'll talk about, which is the emotions. So when I talk about environmental toxins in environmental medicine, it's really is, what are the things in our environment, in our home, in our work, that are having an adverse effect on our health? There's many things that we're breathing in, putting in our skin and in our mouth, that have a chemical effect on our body. So they disrupt our hormones, they cause inflammation, they disrupt our immune system, our neurological system. For example, let's say a lot of us at this point have heard about BPA. Now, BPA is one of the biggest endocrine disruptors, meaning it really disrupts your hormones. Men and women, I actually attribute the increase or the increase in disruption of estrogen balance, testosterone balance in men and women. I think the biggest cause is BPA and phthalates. And it's because that's everywhere. See, the CDC a few years ago did a study and tested over 2,000 people's urine. And BPA is something that's metabolized within 24 hours, 48 hours. And over 93% of these people, they found BPA in there, meaning within the past 1 or 2 days, over 93% of that 2,000 plus people had BPA exposure. It's a big problem, because what BPA does is it's an agonist for estrogen, meaning that it binds to the receptors for estrogen and then starts having an estrogenic effect in men and women, which is not a good thing. We have a very certain amount, an elegant symphony of hormones, and we don't want to disrupt that. And BPA is one of the first things to disrupt that. But that's in plastic bottles, thermal paper receipts, the lining of cans, tuna cans, beans, tomato sauce. It is in shower curtains that we're exposing ourselves to, right? Anything that has plastic wrapping, right? Anything where there's food in there, that's BPA, and it's everywhere. So that's just one of many. But then we have to start expanding our thinking into what's in our home. Are we in a couch that's off-gassing? Or are we in a couch that has a certification that shows us, okay, no, we've tested for over 3,000 different chemicals that don't off-gas, because not on the first day, not on the second, or even the first year, but at some point it starts affecting you, certainly your children, certainly your pets.
Can you just talk, I don't want to interrupt that, but off-gassing, use that term. That's a common term that we use in the wellness community. Not everybody will understand that right away. So what do you mean by that in terms of off-gassing, and what comes out? A couch, for example, that's something, a bed, things that have that cushion or foam. What is coming out into the air, and what do you see in a child? Does that cause asthma? Like how does that manifest in the body?
So say, for example, I'm sitting on a couch now. This one's been tested, but if this was a conventional couch that I bought at the conventional store, the polyurethane, especially, the same thing that is in Tempur-Pedic beds, right? That foam. Sometimes it's the upholstery, and a lot of the time it's the wood, the plywood, the glues that are sticking together the wood. All of these materials, they have chemical constituents. And when those bonds start breaking down over time, right, it starts degrading, they become volatile. And these compounds are breathed in, right? And when you hear the word off-gassing, say, for example, I'll give you an example of off-gassing. You ever smell bleach? That's the chemical off-gassing into the air, into your respiratory system, into your lungs. So naturally, something that would be of effect is in children or us is respiratory issues, respiratory disease. So let's say, for example, someone's listening and they go, my kid out of nowhere just developed asthma. My kid keeps having sinus issues or sinusitis. They're not breathing well at night. It could very well be that that new couch that you bought 2 months ago is adversely affecting your child. If your dog is having issues, itching nonstop, right? It could well be that there's something in the home that your dog is allergic to. And then us as adults, same thing. When it's not just couches too, one of the biggest things is bed. And I just mentioned the Tempur-Pedic, one of the worst beds that you could possibly have. That is off-gassing for the life of it. You can't just put it outside for a week and, the smell's gone and then bring it in. For the life of that bed or for the life of the couch, it's off-gassing, that phenomenon, which is really affecting us. And it's not just respiratory. Over time, these are known carcinogenic chemicals. Not all of them, but many of them. For example, formaldehyde. These are known carcinogenic chemicals which cause cancer. So if we are exposed to something in a slow drip every single day at home, and it can lead to cancer at some point, it would just behoove us to bring more education into, okay, well, what are the other options?
Yeah, and it's interesting. I don't know if you know this about me, I had Lyme disease several years ago. I got a diagnosis and I had a Tempur-Pedic bed. And I didn't know any better at the time. And I was laying on it every night and I was getting severe headaches. And I was lucky enough to have a doctor that was a functional medicine doctor that said, oh my gosh, you got to get rid of that bed today. And it's interesting. I got rid of it within a week. All of those headaches left. And it was day after day. And I'm not prone to migraines. So it was an interesting little experiment. If you like the short clip, you can catch another one here, or you can catch the full episode right here.